And see, here's the thing about that. There's only one way to fucking find out, bitches. And apparently it's still not gonna notify me. Fuck you. That's not the right button. uh, there you go. Good dog. Okay, cool. That took longer than normal. Do we actually hear myself this time? And hopefully some ghost or whatever the fuck else it was doesn't decide to come and just be like, I'm gonna poltergeist you, and I'm gonna go, I'm gonna have fun slowly turning off and switching off your microphone on you. I don't actually hear myself though. I will know. There we go. Much better. Alright, cool. You don't do stupid evil things. Okay. Allow me. No, allow me to do the thing. I didn't do that first couple of streams this year. And go and get the link and at least share it to Twitter. So that still nobody will actually come and watch the stream. I'm self-aware, thank you. It's like torture yourself, but for like an hour plus? That simply won't do. We only do that if it's a video. Which ironically, I can actually sympathize with because I don't usually watch streams. Let's see, real quick. Whoops, I spelled C as S-H-E-E. That makes perfect sense. C. It's the poltergeist. To switch off my mic again. Do I still have the copy? I do not, because I just copied that fucking link. I'm smart. Señor Texas. Trans Texas lines to Texas. Nah, to the network. That's redundant as fuck, because it's 3 Texases. Lines to the network. Cool. Kill. Okay. There you go. Don't have been punished. I almost clicked off the YouTube streaming part. That would not have been smart. Okay. A continue game of a bit of horse. So, last time I was saying many things, talking about very painfully underrated super band that I personally like a lot, specifically Volume 1 from them. Thus leading to one of their members, which happened to be Roy Orbison, talking about him and his history a bit, because it's kind of wild. It's kind of hard to fathom. And then I also, of course, regarding this game, was mentioning the fact that this is, in fact, an indie game that's developed by one person, as far as I know. I don't know if he added anybody to his team or not, but I figured I would mention that since I didn't get to do that last time, even though I did, but I wasn't able to actually get that to you because, you know, poltergeist shit. Okay. So, we're going to finish off, as I said before, in the before times, in the OKC network, and it is going to be most beautiful. There's a gap here, and that's very annoying. So we could go diagonally. And then that could be the thing that connects us directly to Yukon, or the rest of Yukon. And then El Reno, which I think was actually the original plan in the first place. And then we can, of course, have our north-south line here, which I guess can connect up there. That feels a bit strange. Yeah, OKC is just really developed in a really bizarre fashion, so let's not... let's pretend that's not the case. Okay, I mean... We could also then, once we finish it off, we could then put this line in anyway, and then go do the Trans-Texas line I was talking about, but I'm not sure I want to. Because then I'm just preoccupying myself even more, and though that's not necessarily a bad thing, it's kind of a smite annoying. Alright, but let's get started. Okay, let's say, in fact, I'm pretty sure we do not have much in the way of population out here, but let's go back to that again. Infinite, and I'd rather it not be 3 fucking levels up in the fucking sky. Just towering over, probably taller than most of the buildings at OKC, other than that one random skyscraper that's literally over 900 feet for some reason. That makes no sense. Stations. Station. Let's go and get. Do we have the high speed? I mean, we have the unlimited depth. Oh, was I not building for high speed before? Tunnel depth 2. Oh no, it's automatically high speed. Okay, good. Cool. Cool stuff, bro. Let us begin. So we have that there. Okay, already you have 1,000, so I guess we'll do it here. There we go. I was gonna say that's your first station. Technically isn't, because we're going to add one here. Yep, that does capture more people, of course, because it's more developed over here. So that's good. Good. Except I angled that shittily. Oh, and I got rid of both again. That's another thing I was talking about last episode, because, or last stream, because of the fact that it was happening quite a bit. Where I control Z and it would just auto remove a bunch of shit, which is just totally BS. Oh, it was cutting into that too. All right, well that's fine. It's just really annoying that that's like something that, I mean, again, priorities as a dev, especially an indie dev with one person. But I mean, that's still really annoying. It's inefficient as well. So I don't know. It's not my cup of tea to allow for that kind of egregious. It's not that egregious, but yeah, egregious enough to be annoying kind of pickiness. So let's go and do the that's too high. Not that I'm going to be too nitpicky, but get the angle correct. There we go. Pentecostal Holiness Church. Are you quite sure? Let's do Loon Lake. Every lake in the United States has a cliche name, just like every creek has a cliche name. Every state has at least 6,000 rock creeks. That's a fact that you don't need to look up, because I'm pretty sure it's probably actually more. Actually, no, that was the right area, I think. I do think, and they sinking. Yeah, not quite. A little further forward. That's still not far enough forward. I want to go there then. Yep, that's about perfect. Fantastic. Freaking tabernacle. Okay. Do you want the? Do you want to start curving north yet? Not particularly. Yeah. I'm just gonna go straight through. So State Fair Park, cross through here. Do get to this zone, of course. We could immediately curve north, which is possible, because I'm gonna do that, and then I guess hopefully cross this station, except you'd have to curve even further north, which is brutal. So you could just skip this line, because you could just, but this is a shitty transfer. Or you could just do this, but then you don't get all of Yukon. That's really tough. All right, well, we'll figure it out. There's the boss. So we want to obviously have a station here, so let's do that. Except then I'm going to pull even more out of there, which I guess isn't that bad if we're going to have a north-south line there, but just try to keep it as it was, you know. Actually, no, I was going to keep it straight, wasn't I? That's sexist. Okay, let's go do that. No, I'm going to skip out doing any servicing there. And this is relatively straight, so put that station there. That's downtown. Okay, see. And then obviously another station here. Except that's too far north, so I guess not. which definitely sucks because that would force another weird transfer. Let's see. Try to go to what visually to me right now looks like the center of it, and it's, yep, it's still not sufficient. I'd have to curve down, and that's just, well, I guess it's okay. Now that I look at it, because I do want to go through the center of the park, preferably, so let's do that. Even though I wasn't going to before. In the before times. Do this. I just realized I'm not zoomed in as much as I like to be. I mean, I like to be that zoomed out so that I can see more of the map. But then this way I can actually see the amount of people, which I feel like is, you know, kind of essential. So we'll do that, and then we'll put one in between, in betwixt. Up, elevated a bit. There we go. For the norte. North. And there we go. I got picky there for a minute, which makes no sense. And there we go. See, that's another problem. So now I'm getting picky because I'm in betwixt. Okay, so we wanted to... we should have started pointing north there first. So, let me see. The problem is I know what it's probably going to do with the Control Z if I don't continue that way. He's not good. So we're just going to have to suck it up into a brutal curve. Make it a capacious bastard. Yeah, see, there's plenty of people there, which is what I figured. Okay. Now we're actually angled just in between these two, which is not great either. So we have to angle it a bit. Okay, good. So I can kind of cheat the system. That's good. So let's do a slight curve north here so that we can at least try to get this station. There we go. Could have curved it completely, but I'm just going to do kind of in between. In betwixt, as I keep saying. Yukon, there you go. And then I suppose I could see if there's much development out here. There's not. There's just much more bigger properties, which is why it looks like that. Understandable. Have a terrible day. Where does this population base really start? Close. So probably here. So let's go like this. Honkev to the north. And we'll just focus on center of town because we don't want to overextend ourselves, so to speak, too much. Now do we overservice the region? That, like, just barely falls into my threshold. Cool! That's the first Linus Glazer. Fantastic. Oh, but where did that go? Checking in on it. Just wanted to look. Okay. So, trick. Already on the tracks. Now it's suddenly elevated again. Sometimes it does that, and I'm hoping that these tracks are not elevated all of a sudden. I'm pretty sure they're still underground. Hopefully. Maybe not. That doesn't really look like it, does it? Yikes. Nope. Those stations are elevated. So, at some point, it fucking elevated the stations. Are you serious? Where did it start randomly doing that? Why does it do that sometimes? I haven't had that happen a few times since I started playing this, but for some reason, it's now randomly elevated the lines. Where did it start at? Oh god, it's way back there. Did it start like when I went over that way to figure out the lay of the land and then go back? Because it looks like that's a yes. Because I guess the spot's being elevated. Crap. You're kidding. You're kidding. What the heck? It did. So it had to have started that. Either that or all of these somehow are elevated, which makes even less sense. Given the fact that you literally just go back and see that that was not something I did. I made sure that they were, in fact, down. Because it started, it automatically started as below ground. Where the hell is the last stop? Oh, I really did skip that far. No, yeah. I guess they all somehow wound up, every single stop was a waste of time because apparently every single one of them are elevated. How the fuck? That's so freaking frustrating. So now I gotta go and delete all of the fucking stations I did. It will not let me go any further back in the Control Z. That's another thing. It's super limited and like apparently its memory is really fucking annoying. So now I gotta go and manually remove 90% of these tracks. And restart completely because it did something stupid. I mean, I can have them elevated, but that's just really fucking annoying. It was only at elevator level 2, which means that I think there's crossover on some of these stations. I'm pretty sure some of these are elevated. Like, I know that isn't. Is the main, like, Intercity Express line elevated is my question. I don't think so, but I would say I don't think so. No, it is. It is absolutely elevated. At least these tracks are. So it looks like it, but then this one's not showing spots, so I don't know what the heck that's about. Huh? But the tracks are elevated. That's why they have these, like, things. So, and not smooth like these. Huh? So that must have happened with that line, too. And I didn't realize it, except it was the reverse. Well, apparently not. Yeah, I don't know. So there is 2 that are elevated, which means one of these is actually at level 2. And one of them's at 1. I don't know why it did that. That's so annoying. A picky. I guess it didn't matter. Well, that's really frustrating. Where else did it remove the stops from? Did it remove all the way to downtown, it looks like? Yep. Looks like it. Oh, no, it didn't. Well, what stops did it remove, then? Only the ones in El Reno. Okay, that's weird. I don't get it. So some of these may have station conflicts, which means I'll still have to go fix them, which is annoying. Predictable, but annoying. Let's zoom out a bit. So curve. Whoops, too far. There we go. Here we go. And here we go. Beautiful. Okay. Well. That's a pain in the ass, man. Yeah. This is another reason why is theoretically the if you're to be realistic in your imagination, this means that you're crushing and taking out endless amounts of developed area, which is so stupid because then you're also kicking yourself in the nuts when it comes down to actually having as many people as you can in your catchment basin, which is very annoying. Do that. How about that? Sound good? Sounds great. Should be quite honest. Right in front of the tech offices. Oh, I didn't realize it crossed that road. I was thinking that that road was the highway. Frick. Okay, well, that's fine. I can maintain the line as it is then. Cool, cool. In theory. Smart knowing. Let's see. Yep. And ah, beautiful. Okay. So it is interesting that they have a town called Yukon in Oklahoma, though. I don't think any of the indigenous tribes got moved somehow down the Canadian Trails of Tears down to Oklahoma. That would be weird, but then again, there is some relation between some of the northern tribes in our country. Like I think some of the Sioux tribes have relationships to the Blackfeet and all that were up there. So maybe that's where that comes from. I don't know. Can't also remember if West Oklahoma was one of those places that you wouldn't expect that had a gold rush that did at some point. I think I vaguely remember something like that, but I'm not 100% sure. Still, tis what tis, be what be. So yes, one of the other things about doing these, the way that I do them is obviously they're as realistic as I can make them without accounting for cost, because I don't try to account for cost related things at all, because I mean, why wouldn't you? You can make your own utopia and this kind of a thing. So the whole idea for me is to make the utopia and fuck the current bureaucracy that forces endless developers and bureaucrats and everything else to be involved, to where everything costs lethally more than it's supposed to, because that's where most money goes on transit projects in the United States, is actually just third parties and all these consultants. That's it. Consultants is specifically the one it goes to. Consultants galore. Those consultants have consultants too. It's like, wow. Peak bureaucratic inefficiency, or what they would probably consider very efficient. That's why we can't have nice things. Now, here's where there may be a station conflict. Is there a crossing? Surprisingly, no. Okay, good. One of these other ones, this was also elevated. Yeah.
Danny,
Yeah.
I'd like you to load up the dishwasher.
Cool. I can do that. Alright, and then we should go like this and connect up the rest of the route. It should be beautiful, beautiful days indeed. I skipped out, so it was over here, because this is for the north-south line, over on the east side of OKC. Where exactly am I going? Where was it? It's not that far north. What the hell? I'm already disoriented. My scroll wheel's broken. There. Okay, I was so close to finding the connection point, and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't muster the mental fortitude. And not too far north. Don't do something stupid, please. Thank you. I am like weirdly hot right now. Feels like it's summertime for me. Feel quite swampy. Well, we'll get to swampland pretty soon if I do the Trans-Texas line later, which I intend to, hopefully. One of the many Trans-Texas lines, of course, because it's Señor Texas. Of course, we mentioned to that. Indeed. Let's do that, and there you go. There's also another gap over here that I vaguely remember I put in that does not currently exist, I don't think. Or, that didn't make any sense. It's not what I'm trying to get at. You know what? Whatever. Listen. My brain cells burned off when I went to a TriMet meeting last night. That'll be my excuse. American transit planning in a nutshell. It's just like, it's so brutal that my brain cells fried the like last 2 1/4 that existed. Why am I so hot all of a sudden? It's so weird. Like, I'm starting to sweat, like, profusely. That is the most weird thing. I haven't had that happen before. Just for no particular reason. I'm just starting to pour sweat. This is so strange. Human bodies are strange, malfunctioning pieces of shit. So basically what I'm saying is, our bodies are tech. That's what they are. Or government, I suppose. Load up on Volsta to see if possibly that's part of it. I don't think it should be, but maybe. That is the probably second longest local line for the metro area, because this is obviously from Guthrie down to Norman. It's going to, or actually not Norman, sorry, Purcell. It's going to be really long and very competitive in length. And that's what she said when she left for me. Okay, that is built. Now let's go and make ourselves that next line. First, we want to find the O's. There's the nose, and there is the O's. Great. Let's close up. And OKC 6, yeah. Just look, but you know, it's a little too overpowered for my brain. Just start seeing steam pouring out of the fucking my ears.
Let's make a custom call up. We already have a red one, so let's try a deeper blue.
Passing the wrestle. And then let's figure out what we want to do. Though it's a long line, I don't think I'll need the highest level of passengers. I think 700 again is a good area. And of course, a lot of these are actually mods from the workshop. These vehicles, if you will. They are technically called rail vehicles, now I think about it. But it just doesn't seem like... You don't want to usually call trains vehicles, because it just seems bizarre when you think about it. But they technically also are vehicles, so... In fact, actually, one of these Chinese ones, I think, should be good. I mean, even this could be good. A 600 and a 680 was too slow. 310 is okay, because, I mean, again, it is more of a local access line, so it's probably not going to necessarily even get up to that. So I could do that, but I'd rather it have slightly more passengers, but I suppose I can stick with that. For Mo. Schmizzy communism to me. I think it will. We're going to go with these.
Whoop.
Speed her up. And it's already pissed off. Oh, because I didn't actually make the line. I'm prone to do that, even on my own. Okay, well, that was smart. I was like, I made the line. Well, you named it. I mean, I guess that's halfway there. Stoop, and a boop. Yeah, so last time I was like really podcasty, and of course none of it... Hopefully that's the right one. Yes. None of it got through because apparently we had that whole paranormal like poltergeist experience where I didn't even realize that they slowly turned off my microphone. And it has to be something paranormal because like the switch on this microphone is... It does require some muscle to be able to get the damn thing to flip up or down, so on or off. And it was like super slow. You could just hear the slow fade out when you look back at it. And it's like... That makes no sense, because I didn't bump my desk at any point. I didn't bump the microphone or touch it at any point. And yet, for some reason, it turned itself off very slowly. I get to the end of the stream, finally check. Sure enough, it was off. Well, near the end of the stream. Switched off. Like, how the fuck does that make any sense? It's still weird. I don't understand how the hell that happened. It was so bizarre. What else can you do except explain that as like a paranormal poltergeist-like experience, right? Because like... Did the air do it? No. So what the fuck else could it be? Never done that before, and it hasn't done it so far since. Don't know. It was some anomaly. I didn't do that one again. Okay, good. Okay. Now we can go back to trains. And now it will be fixed. Okay. Zoom out. For the love of God, fix yourself. I want a self-fixing mouse, please. Like, you think about that, though. With the mouse problem, with the scroll wheel, it's broken. So you're tempted to, half tempted to replace it, but at the same time, it's kind of a waste of money because the rest of the main portions of the mouse function perfectly fine. They're not sprung. They don't have any of the other issues, which I probably have a good 6 months left with this mouse before the left mouse button is sprung. Just according to history, the last 9 years of doing stuff that requires a lot of clicking because games are pretty heavy. Is it 6 or 8? That is 8. Will it be sufficient? Probably. Even at peak? Probably. I do like to kind of overindulge just in case. I can't remember if it is NIMBY Rails that has a system in place where it like has a random event here and there. I want to say yes, because the other transit games I own are too basic. They're not remotely realistic. They're very arcade. Like Transport Fever 2, all that. So this is the only one I can think of that could have that system. I don't know if they still have it either, but nevertheless, yes. So the last time I was talking in my podcastiness, one of the things I talked about, as I mentioned in the beginning of this, was super band that like is super underrated and pretty much in a weird sort of way semi undiscovered by a lot of people. Because I mean it's a super band, and yet like most people don't even know about it, including oldie music heads, which is kind of weird because it's like all the biggest names that even now have huge recognition even among, you know, my age group, which is millennials or whatever, because I'm 30, like, and yet very few people still know that it exists, and it's just bizarre. I don't understand it, but the band is called Traveling Wilburys, and it was formed originally by uh or I should say it was conceived and formed originally by George Harrison, obviously formerly of the Beatles, as everybody's going to know him for specifically, and also Jeff Lynne from ELO, if I remember correctly. I think it was him that George Harrison invited because he really admired his music and thus the music of ELO, and so he wanted to be able to have him on board for a band, and Jeff was super into the idea. So uh, Jeff Lynne, of course, joined in, and then he proposed that idea to Jeff Lynne, and had Jeff come up with some one of the members that he wanted to work with and have as a part of the yeah, I guess I'll curve to that station. It's a little bit awkward, but we'll do it. That he was inspired by, and he would like to have make music with in the band. How is it still too far away? Fuck off. And so he invited either Bob Dylan or Tom Petty. I'm not sure which one it was. So now you had three members, and again, these are like all legends in the industry and among just average people, you know, music enjoyers of multiple different generations and eras. And yeah, and then eventually, whichever one it was that of the two that Jeff Lynne picked, then they picked the other one, so Bob Dylan or Tom Petty. So then they had their complete band, so to speak, except they're missing one other person, because what George really wanted to do is he wanted them to get this main band together, and then he wanted them all collectively to come up with another member that they all really admired. And it turned out that they all were enamored with and absolutely in awe and awestruck, starstruck by none other than Roy Orbison, of all people, which is really kind of a cool story. Like, you'd never expect that, but this is still 3 layers up. Fuck me. This is not smart, because that's that line, which means these are crossover. I'm going to fix that because there's a conflict. See, I'm busy telling a story and I'm not paying much attention. I thought that was the right way, but no, that is the right way. My bad. Deletos, please. I think delete just works. Yeah. Okay, cool. There's no crossover still. Good, good. So yeah, they invited Roy Orbison. Roy Orbison. And you never expect it, including if you grew up with Roy Orbison at his peak in the 50s, 60s, mainly. You would never know or expect to find out that this guy was apparently only 59 when he died. Or no, sorry, not 59. Sorry, I think he was 53 when he died. Pretty sure it was 53. It might have been 52. I think it was 53. He was only 53, and that was in 1989. Which is just insane, because like you look at, like, you know, his best known, most well known. I did it again. That was so stupid. His best and most well known song is "Pretty Woman," which is in black and white. If you look at the music video for it, which is so weird. And of course, everybody's dressed up in, you know, early 60s, late 50s gear and attire and everything else, haircuts, and you're like, how the fuck was this man 53 when he died in 1989? And you come to find out that it is in fact because Roy is made of sand. No, because Roy started when he was, I think, 13. I think is when he first got into the music industry, if I recall correctly. And he see about the curve. Nah, that's fine. I can keep that straight. And he started with music when he was like 3 or 4, I think, is what his backstory is. which is kind of wild in a way, you know? So as a result, because he started so early, it makes him seem like he should have been like at least in his early 70s in 1989, but he was in fact
Quite young and chipper. He was quite spry and sprightly.
he died of a heart attack, so that sucks. Especially considering the backstory behind that is really sad. If you know and listen to, say, Volume 1, obviously Roy was with them to record all those songs on that record. But he missed out on one single song to record a music video for, because what had happened with that Volume 1 is it really just revived and launched his career, because his career was pretty much done and over by that point. He was, too old. He was washed up. Like, nobody really cared about Roy Orbison. Like, who the heck cares? Who the fuck is Roy Orbison, basically, even then? Which is a sad reality to think about. And then he gets his career pretty much resurrected again and rebirthed by being a part of this band. So, which is really, really freaking cool. And they helped him create that new album and to effectively be able to, go back to what he has a passion for and enjoy the most, which is, again, music. Which is so cool if you think about it. That's just such an awesome story, I love it. I think it's great. So that was really cool, and especially considering all of those guys are all legends themselves. Even at the time, they were considered that. Like, they were at the peak of their careers. George, debatably, I don't know exactly. That's wildly subjective with George Harrison, since he was part of the Beatles. Everyone's gonna have some intense opinion about that. But yeah, and so it was just like really, I don't know, it's just kind of interesting to think about, Like, of all people, Roy Orbison was their pick, their guy. They all were enamored with him. They were all in awe of him all the time, even while they were recording together, while they recorded music videos together. They were enamored with each other. But yeah, so he wasn't there for the last music video they shot, which was End of the Line. It's just about what you'd probably expect with that title. It was a positive thing, obviously. It was a positive spin on basically like living in the moment. Like, it doesn't matter if you're old and gray. It doesn't matter, no matter what it is that's happening to you in your life that most people see as a huge negative or impediment. It's actually, if you think about it, it's actually a really beautiful thing that you're still alive. You can laugh, you can cry, you can do all the other things. You can still feel, think, do things, move, all the things, and it's amazing to be able to be in that position. And then he died, like, right before they were supposed to record that music video. So when you watch that music video, you figure that out pretty quickly, because the fact that, though you can hear him in the recording, he's not in the music video, because instead it's his guitar, his signature guitar he's always had and played since he started in music, is in his rocking chair on the train with the rest of the band. That's obviously pretty heavy. So it's just a really interesting little story like that, and it's kind of bittersweet because of, again, Roy and his resurgence with them, and they helped him kind of resurge when he decided he wanted to, say, okay, I want to go back and actually create this album, and that's, he was able to tour again. They all collectively were more than thrilled to be able to help him write his music and produce his album and arrange his tour and everything else, which is super cool. Like, that's how much they cared about each other and everything as well. And it was just like no ego. There was zero egos. There was zero, concerns or care about success or anything like that. It was just straightforward and just like, we're really admire each other. We're really inspired by each other. We love each other's music. Let's get together. Perfect harmony. I have 40 acres and you have 23. Sorry, that's a different song. But no, in perfect harmony, really. Like, and just get together and have fun. Just making music together. That was the entire point of that band. And they really did. They succeeded in doing that. Like, they never had ego issues. They were always thrilled to work together, and it's super cool. And again, that volume 1 is super great music. And I'm not somebody who actually gives a fuck about Tom Petty. I don't give a fuck about Bob Dylan. I've never really cared for their music at all. Like, I can tolerate it, but I don't understand why people love it so much or rave about it. Even to this day, it confuses me. But I'm like, hey, you know what? I can still tolerate it, so that's at least okay. That's coming from a guy who loves rock music, so 70s, 80s rock. I actually like Roy Orbison more than I like those. Yeah, I feel like it kind of says a lot, but and I got to tell you though, like if you had to pick a vocalist, it's always going to be either Jeff Lynne, George Harrison, or Roy Orbison. If you and they did, of course, have them have their own songs, and therefore they sung on them and led. But like to me, those two are horrible at singing. Like they have like little to no range. They're way too gravelly and raspy. I just don't like their vocals at all, and that's why I would consider them more vocalists than actual singers, because they definitely don't fit into the singing category in my opinion. They're not as bad as screamo, aka metal, but you know, it's it's yeah, it's definitely an acquired taste to listen to and enjoy their singing, so to speak, their vocals. So, but the music itself for both of them is fine. Like I think I would like them and their careers way better if they didn't sing. Admittedly, as sacrilegious as it probably sounds to a lot of their fans. Like, how could you say that? Well, because they do genuinely suck at daring to be vocalists. They are, well, not vocalists, but singers. They are terrible. They just have no fucking range. They suck. Oh, man, I tell you. So, yeah. But anyway, those are my thoughts and prayers on that topic. Yeah, end of the line, and God, what's I just, yeah, even last time I did this, I forgot, for some reason I was forgetting the name of the other uh hits, you know, biggest hit they had. They had two big hits, and I say big hits, they're for them that was big hits in terms of numbers, including now, but actually in reality they weren't really hits either. Oh, that's another thing about that's really cool about them as well, is it was so much so about just simply enjoying each other's company and, you know, being inspired by each other and just getting together, having fun, making music, doing what they had a passion for and they loved, that they didn't even have a record label involved ever. They never involved a record label. It was entirely self-recorded, self-made, self-written, self-produced, everything. They never involved a record label ever. It was entirely uh, all their own, which is, again, like really freaking awesome and cool. To be sure. Now I could curve that into here. Do I want to? If I do, I should curve it down into it again on this line as well. Don't really want to in particular. But yeah, so Roy Orbison is, or rather, Traveling Wilburys is definitely a very painfully underrated band for sure, especially as far as super bands go. Like, it's egregious how underrated they are and how underappreciated and under-recognized as existent they actually are. Um, just super high quality music, super good stuff. Never involved production or producers or anything like that. It's just ultimate stuff, you know. I just think that's super cool. But nevertheless, that's that for now. Let us complete this, and we shall go once again to then buy more trains for this endeavor. Indeed, indeed, indeed. Indeed, the littleness. Parabéns. Okay. See. Senor. Okay, so that will be, of course, OKC7. For simplification purposes. Oops, do that. Keep my naming basis and principle. Do this. Fantastic. Yep, it definitely seems like it was hydration that made me was super hot and sweat for some reason. Sudden dehydration out of absolutely fucking nowhere. Okay. Nevertheless, let's begin. So, oh, also, let's get that custom color in. You know what? We'll do a gray. I don't think I've done a single gray line in the entire network. So let's do that. Actually, hang on. Hang on. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to do it this way because it's actually deeper into that hood. It doesn't actually change anything, but let's pretend. As I tend to do. Because utopian mindset, baby. Let's freaking go. Christian. This is. Obviously, overall, this is tedious and it's boring. For sure. And to be sure. But it is necessary. To be sure. Oh, I did not connect. Forgot to connect that. You see, you never saw this mistake. It's I've never been on camera. I don't know what you're talking about. Leave me alone. Let's not ignore the truth. This is the internet. I didn't make the rules. I'm just the messenger. We do not do these kinds of things around here. Thank you. We don't speak truth. We ignore it and pretend it doesn't exist. Because that is the essential key to life and love. Cool Bansky Doodles, Berev. Yeah. But that's also why you can just, like, let random thoughts and stories come up into your head and then just spit them out. Because talk about them, because why not? Turn into like a podcast type of thing. The more comfortable you get, the more likely it is that you're gonna be able to find yourself just kind of rambling on about various different things. So yes. Oh yes, another reason why this is very unrealistic, and I don't care. When it comes down to doing these lines, not this line because apparently it was elevated, and I did not intend for it to be elevated. But if I may be quite honest, it is a case of my brain would work. That'd be great. I think it just died. It seems like it died up from reception. Ah, fuck. God damn it. Let's do this. TGV piece of shit. No, wait, that's not what I thought it was. Do that, I think, because that's the highest capacity of the same thing. So this is the real ones I usually do. I do the fucksings. Whatever. Listen. Close enough. They're the same thing, okay? Leave me alone. Buy. Purchase. Hopefully it'll be sufficient in terms of capacity. But yeah, so one of the main reasons why this is very unrealistic, admittedly, is because of the water table problem. So most of the lines I do are in the infinite tunnel section, so infinite depth tunnel section. Because then, if you have it on infinite, either again elevated or tunneling in this game in NIMBY Rails, the fun key tip is always do infinite, because then you can cross over train lines and it will not have signals because they technically don't cross because it's infinite, meaning the game doesn't know what is what. So it'll automatically put a overpass or an underpass of both of them there, and then they don't cross over, including at the stations. It's the same thing. They put different levels automatically when they cross each other, which is huge. I mean, that's really freaking important to have that kind of a thing go down. So that's 7, so we want at least one more, except it's more local than the other one, so I probably would normally want more, but then again, it's not too long. But I think I'm going to definitely have 10 on there because I like to go overboard. So we're going to do 10. But yeah, so the water table is a problem because I don't know about OKC area. I don't even know about Oklahoma. But I know in the DFW, the Dallas-Fort Worth area of Texas, the water table is 16 inches on average below the surface of the ground. So like what you're standing on, you dig 16 inches down. So what is that? A foot and 4 inches down on average in the DFW area, and you will find the water table. still find water. Like, what the fuck? So that's a bit of a problem. So just for context, I figured I'd mention that because it is a thing. Could do custom colors, which probably be somewhat smart, but I don't really care. Anyway, whilst we're here, we can take a break from the OKC completion zone. And let us go and look at the entire network. I know technically the stream started this way, but let's do it again. So this is the entire network currently that's built. Because probably nobody's going to watch or pick out those specific sections of that last stream and then post like a timestamp or something in the comments of it. For like the 2 people that watch it. So we got New Orleans and the whole metro area. Obviously, Baton Rouge is like they call it, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Lake Charles. Skipped by Beaumont. We have obviously Houston. We have San Antonio, El Pasadito and La Cruces, Amarillo, Lubbock, the Odessa Midland region, San Angelo, believe it or not, Abilene, which I believe is this, Wichita Falls, the whole DFW region, the whole Round Rock, Killeen, Temple region, Austin, and obviously we got the San Antonio again. So this blue and red line, because you cannot have one line on, officially, you cannot have one line in NIMBY rails on one rail. Even though technically it's 2 ways, you cannot do that because the fact that it will automatically conflict with everything pretty much. So what you actually have to do, unfortunately, with it is you have to have 2 lines on one line, if that makes any sense. So 2 lines are technically one line. So the red and blue are actually all one line. I call it the Texas Eagle. It's obviously servicing the Texas Triangle. It's entirely high-speed rail. You Shinkansen, as you'd expect. It goes between Houston, San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth. So Fort Worth and then Dallas. If you're going, say, from Houston, that's west, north, east, south, right, loop. So what would they, clockwise. If you go counterclockwise, is the better way to put it, then obviously same cities, just reversed. So only the main big cities, the main big, what is that? That's 5, right? Yeah, the main big 5 cities in the entire Texas Triangle. That's what I have the Texas Eagle serving. That was the original plan for the Texas, what was it? Texas Central rail, a high-speed rail system. That was the original plan, but now they only have Houston to Dallas, which at least that's a start. But I had the whole damn thing going on. So that was the first thing I built. That was the first line I built because obviously that's the keystone. That's the heart, the heartbeat, the blood, the DNA of Texas transportation. So obviously, especially rapid transit. So obviously you're going to focus on that first. That's going to be your cornerstone. Then you can go and expand from there. So obviously I built out each of the city networks, and then I built out this one to New Orleans and built out all those networks so that all those have connections directly to Houston, thus to the Eagle and everything else. Then I built out this one to El Pasadito from San Antonio. I can't entirely remember which one is the high speed and which one is the ICE, because one goes slower and is more ICE. The other one is more ICE in the sense that it has more capacity, and then the other one is actually genuine high-speed rail. It's all it does is go one stop into El Pasadito downtown, and the other one goes directly to downtown San Antonio. Not exactly sure. Obviously, the entire basis idea for Senor Texas is to make sure, but in Senor Texas or Senor Texas, that we connect all of the main cities and towns within Texas to the main hub network here in the center. Well, technically east. So next one I wanted to do, and I'm actually, this is one of the reasons why I did this, is because I'm not going to finish OKC, at least not on the stream. what I want to do is skip out on finishing their network, and I want to add a line that goes from the border, so Brownsville, up through Harlingen to McAllen, then up to Edinburgh, and then go up to Corpse is Crispy, and then Portland, and then of course Victoria, and then what I want to do is I want to have it go up and hit up College Station Bryan, and then we'll do a slant directly to Tyler, and then I want to go directly past Longview and go to Texarkana, and that is the line I want to do to end this stream. Which is going to be infinitely more work for me. I'll definitely do off camera to build out each of their networks. It's not international yet. I don't think it will make it international, but we'll see. In the long haul, the longer I work at this, obviously the more it's going to become from regional to national. Because the entire idea is I want to eventually connect up the entire country to this Texas network, which means the entire country now is just one system, which means eventually Señor Texas would have to stop existing. It would have to be rebranded to something more accurate. Or you could call it Señor Texas National Rail. I mean, I guess you could call it that, but I probably won't do that. So we'll see in the future what I end up doing, but yeah. Elevated probably would be smart in this context, I feel like. Probably. But I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm going to do elevated instead of tunnel. Well, yeah, I'm going to do that. Just to at least, the very least, shake it up. So we're not going to do, like, the system, which means we're not going to actually connect up much of the city. We're just going to do Brownsville. We're going to do something like... you know what? I am actually going to do underground. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do... Except I don't think I need to do that. I think I can just do one underground. Yeah, I can do that. Yes. The gem. So let's go get this. Technically, this makes it international, which is kind of funny, because it's going to get this little peninsula of Matamoros. I could do it more central than this, but well, it does get a lot more people. All right, let's go even further north and further north, and let's just try to get the maximum catchment here in the U.S. So here for Brownsville itself, at least as close to it as possible. Interesting how the population's changing quite a bit. If I go this way, it gets more, which is interesting. But then it's faced badly. So maybe I'll do... Instead, I'll do it like that, I guess. Maybe. Yeah. There we go. Almost 16K. Crazy. That's in one fucking play. Crazy. Okay. And then we'll go up. I did not realize how dense that means that has to be. Oh, San Benito is actually technically a town as well. That exists over here. Well, too late. Too bad. As my dad would have said back in the day. Suffer. Okay, so I can do this. I can do it down here, or I can try to go central. Yeah, that's a better option, because there's in fact more people. Sometimes that's not the case, I've found. Sometimes not the case. Also, in this game, it does actually, in fact, use real population data. I'm not sure how up-to-date any of it is, but it does do that. It does use real world population data. So I just thought I would mention that. Say that when I clamp. We could do a Bernie Sanders. I want to make it very, very clear. No more short accretion. But I will keep my mentions. All three of them. Edinburgh. I did say I would do Edinburgh, but I should just be on the normal system, but I'll do Edinburgh too. Fuck it. Of course, fork it, man. Okay. Too long. There we go. Cool. Edinburgh. Conflagrations, you suck. Okay. And then I go all the way up to Corpse is Crispy. Indeed. Now, where is... Wow. 20k. Man, that's not even downtown. Of course, downtown's going to have less people. But that's still a lot. Wow, wow, wow. Damn. There's even more to the south than there is here, but it's too late now, bitch. Okay, Potland. I should leave that on the normal network too, but I'm still gonna do it. You can't make me change my mind. Not even you, Stephen Crowder. Okay. Say Vittoria. Mademoiselle, let us get up to you and serve it. Let's service Victoria. Get up there and service the woman. So bad. But technically true. That's a bad angle, isn't it? Yeah. It's fine. Shang. Columbiner. Let's skip you. It did stop before College Station. All that would be obviously here, but I'm gonna definitely skip them too. So let's do College Station, and then we'll College Station and Bryan. I would like to do both, preferably, but I don't know, because it's not the actual network itself, and that's really close together. So I could just shoot for in between, but then you're not going to get as many people. I said that. That was apparently a lie. Cool. I'm glad that was a lie. Didn't mean for it to be, but I'll take it. Okay. Let's do that. That might have been a little tilted more than I meant to be, and it was. Let's do Teeler. Okay, you're 8K, you're 8K, but a little more, 8K, you're 8K, a little more again. Okay, so around here, the Historic District, yep. Cool. South Downtown / Historic District. There's Longview, but we're going to skip you. Although I did tilt towards you, which is not what I meant to do. I understand why I did this. I'm scared to get rid of it normally, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do it this way, which to me is not normal, but I'm going to get rid of it. We're going to delete you. We're going to go back and we're going to do that all over again. So let's do that, but actually angle it correctly. So let's do... Zoom in, please. That'd be quite... I wanted it in terms of like the maximum catchment, but it didn't actually really change much. I think actually that's still probably a bad angle. Yeah, I actually need to curve that further north is what I need to do. So once again, hello? Oh, fuck off. You're too zoomed out. You know, you need to learn to shut the fuck up. Wrong one. Back to station. Okay, interesting. Oh, I got 1,000 here. That's actually curved slightly to the west, but you see nothing. Let us go to, of course, the next sport, which is simply Texarkana. Texarkansas. I love how much people from Arkansas despise it if you call them Arkansas instead of Arkansas. I don't even know what the hell the point of that is or why they're so bitter about that. It's so bizarre. It's like, does it really matter though? Does it really? I don't think it does, man. But sure, okay. Bent out of shape about it. Yeah, I don't know. It's really bizarre to me. I'm actually on the Texas side. I think because I think or does it follow the creek? I'm pretty sure it doesn't. I'm pretty sure it follows this road right here. I think is the state line, but it actually might be this state line. I think this is the state line though, isn't it? All right, so then we'll go and do this. We'll go and grab the rails and do such forth and so like. Indeed. Okay, zoom out. Thank you. Spank you. Bonk. Sweet. And I think that's about the right angle, if I recall correctly. Yeah, of course I fucked that up. Classic. I better not have gotten rid of any stations or I swear to fucking God. Because it does love doing that. Where are we headed? No, we're not quite right. Yeah. I mean, technically we are. We can technically tunnel underneath the lake. I don't prefer to. I think this is where I was originally going to shoot for. But I could actually do it here. Or I can go around. I think going here, though, is probably the best option. It's not the most straightforward option, but it's not bad either. Although it is vertical, so you know what? Yeah, we're going to go north of both lakes, actually, I think. Is the goal. Oh, shut up. I noticed if you curve at all, it especially gets pissed about length. How is it still supposedly too long? Strong, and down to get the friction on. That's a one royal pain in the ass about that shit. Is it being zoomed out. Trying to do this long of a line. Is it gets massively picky. Okay, well there's a lot less people to, I guess, obliterate down there, but I guess it's too late now. Well, in theory. Oh, VFD. I thought that said UFO. I'm like, okay, that's weirdly specific. It's the military's UFO, bro. Did I build that way already? I apparently did. That's unfortunate, but also, apparently I'm still not zoomed in enough. Picky. Let's not curve that way. Let's stay this way. For a while. Picky. Okay, there's there, which is long view area, so let's not. We'll continue. That was a strong curvature. Beautiful. Okay, now how about that? Okay, yeah, we can sort of curve now. Fantastic. That's more of a curve than I wanted, but we're okay. Jean Christian College. College. You don't say. That. Left. And Wabamski. Finally got to Teeler. Alright, let's go down to... what was the next one? Oh, Jackson was bigger than I thought it was, huh? And that's what she said when she left me. College Station, right. That's gonna be a long way. In fact, you can literally do the meme and just use that song as a... It's been a long way without you, my friend. Because... Oh, I forgot that I knocked almonds in there when I was mixing up the mix that I have. Alright, yeah, actually they probably wouldn't be bad. Let's see. Oh, I know, yeah. I added salt to my mix because of that. Let's see here. Oh no! You didn't show us red. You see how it does that sometimes? It doesn't show as red, even though that's supposed to be what it's supposed to do. If it's too long, it's supposed to show up as red, not just tell you, oh, this is the wrong length. Which is such a stupid thing. Wrong length. Get the fuck out. Like, I actually genuinely don't understand that programming. Like, how... I don't know, man. It's dumb. Anyway, okay, there it is. And yes, it is curved that way. So let's try to go... I know I already curved a little north, but let's curve back south again. So we can try to skirt Palestine. Palestine, probably, again, because Ohio's is apparently said as Palestine, not Palestine. Or sorry, Palestine, not Palestine. So let's do that. Apparently, that was claimed to show up as red, and it did not. That's because I curved it, so it was bitching about me curving it, at all, like, even at all. But yeah. It always bitches about curves. If there's a slight curve, you notice how much shorter it wants it to be. It's like, this isn't even like manufacturer problems, you know? Or you could reason that. Like, real life, if you want to be realistic about it, you're like, oh, well, it's manufacturing problems because it comes in segments and sections, my friend. It's prefabbed, concrete and all that, and reinforced concrete. And therefore, it's not reasonable to expect it to be, the segments to be able to be that long. Well, wrong, because we're not in the real world. You can keep other realistic things, but that's one that I would find very annoying to have as implemented, because it's like, it's just unreasonable to me. It's like, okay, cool, I understand that's realism, but why? Okay, we're too far north right now. But why make it that realistic, especially on the tedious logistics aspects? It already is going to be like that. It's already micromanagement. Why the fuck? Why in the holy mother of fucks would you do that? You know, such a pain in the ass. Such a goddamn pain in the arsifice. Okay, I think that's a good angle. I knew it. It was going to call that wrong length. But it wasn't, so it lied. Okay, sure. What the fuck? Okay. It's not at a great angle, but that's alright. Whomp. Cool. Sweet. Caroline. Boop, boop, boop. And then it was straight down to Victoria, which is going to be a... That's one thing about this I don't like, is like, if I had to trade it off, I'd rather do like more picky related tasks in terms of making lines. I mean, they're more boring and tedious, yet weirdly I feel this is more tedious and annoying for me, that to do these long lines, actual high-speed rail lines, if not simply because of the fact that like the pickiness of it, and then the length, yeah, the distance you have to go, and it's just like, someone shoot me, please, thank you. Is that Deontay Burton? Is that Ward Burton? Who is which Burton? Is Burton a burden? The world may never know. Motherfuck. Okay, come on. Good dog. Fantastic. Fun freaking tabernacle. Okay, that's south of Lagrange. Lagrange. Which means we curved north, and we shouldn't have. We need to start curving south pretty harshly. So let's do that. By Vilma. No. God, climate. So what I wanted, because of that. I knew it. You picky son of a bitch. Yep, I knew it. It was going to happen just before that fucking railroad track, and the slightest curve. It's just bitches immediately. It's like, but there's a curve. You're killing me. Oh, fuck off, dude. Like, not even just speed restrictions. Like, they have speed restrictions for the curves. Makes sense. If you're gonna keep realism, at least keep that. But stop doing this wrong length thing. You know? Because, like, you especially, cause, again, the length is apparently too long of a segment, even if you're going completely straight. Which, if you think about it, makes zero logical sense. And they're gonna do the whole realism thing of like, but there's a curve in that segment, which means it has to be shorter. Okay, I guess great. But if you already slow things down with a curve, then you don't need to worry about that curve in that sense at all, because, you know, logic and shit. Like, why are we being weird about this? Why are we being weirdly picky? Why? Why are we being unnecessarily realistic and picky in that department, you know? It's just quite annoying, you know? It's just quite annoying. Anyhow, even though this is entirely tunneled, what? Oh, come, fuck on, dude. Seriously, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. I am so fucked up right now, Big Bird. We can pretend, despite the fact that it's all tunneled, and I would like to pretend that actually this is all at grade in between the civilized areas, the developed regions. The rural areas, it's fine to cross, to have grade crossings and roads. They're gonna mind it way more. They're gonna be way slower, not just in lifestyle, but in general. You know, they're gonna do all the things correctly, and that's beautiful. There's gonna be infinitely less traffic, even during the peak of like tourism season in summer. The whole shebang. So yeah. All right, let's go. Let's do a curvature once again, like so. So we can get down there and refugio. Refuge in Spanish. Help. Wait, what? Wait, yeah, fucking give the fucking red for wrong length sections earlier, please. Like, don't just like skimp out on me like that. What are you, made of sand? But pretend that the boat, yeah, grade, and then above ground otherwise, because that way, at the very least, you have the fun idea and concept of visualizing the system in a way that is beautiful, to where everybody who's writing it gets to see the Texas countryside pass them by, no matter where they are, you know, on the system. I think that's awesome, personally. Like, I really do. I think it's fun, freaking tabernacle. Indeed. And who the fuck, like, when it comes down to trains, whether it's ultra high speed or not, who the hell rides trains like that and doesn't think, you know, this is not just relaxing and comfortable. This is an experience that I would do and experience again and choose to, because it makes sense. It's cheap. It's way more efficient than everything else. And you know, I get to watch the countryside go by. Like, who doesn't want to watch the countryside and the scenery go by? That which makes it even more relaxing, you know? Does it make sense? No, it really doesn't. So that's my thesis for this century. Let's connect the border cities with each other real quick. I could have gone to Port Isabel, you know, those kind of areas, but I think those are tourism spots, so I don't really talk about tourists, because fuck them. So they can go fuck themselves.
You know, when I was coming up as a young puppet, my parents told me that if anybody wants something from you, just to tell them to go fuck themselves with metal rebar that's rusted, full of tetanus. And that's why I became the mascot for children everywhere. My name is Helmo. I'm running for president in 2024, and I approve this message.
Don't know why I do what I do. Okay, Harlingen. Watch, I'll probably get somebody pissed if they ever see this and be like, it's Jen, Harline Jen, okay? It's Harline Jen. Fuck you. I still need to make a video that's ranting about fucking place name enunciations, because whether it's in England or Pennsylvania or New York or wherever else, nobody knows how to say their own fucking names right. It's in your own language, and it still doesn't matter. You still don't know fucking jack diddly shit when it comes down to how to enunciate your own places. You're just wrong by default, man. You can't tell me that reading, this case Pennsylvania, is actually supposed to be said as Reading. I refuse. I revolt. I riot. I will burn your house down. I will murder your children in cold blood in front of everybody. In imagination. And not in real life. And I will, it's a joke. And I will obviously make sure that, you know, I do all the neighborly proper things that are healthy, mentally stable, and just show my compassion and understanding for how wrong you fucking are. And go fuck yourself, you piece of shit, with some metal rebar that is rusted to hell. Okay, yeah. It's so funny too because of how fucking pissed off everybody got in the Michigan, the one dealing with Superior as a new state, and my little mini series of short videos on proposed new states. They weren't even my own proposals anyway. They were just the most commonly mentioned ones by proponents of doing so, including of those in those states. And it wasn't even the New York, because it contained New York too, and nobody in New York got mad. And they're like proud, so fucking proud of themselves. The biggest fucking smiles on their fucking faces and twinkle in their eye, knowing that they're like world famous for being the biggest fucking assholes to everybody in New York. And not a single New Yorker had a fucking problem with how I apparently mispronounced Rochester, or what is it? I guess apparently it said as Rochester or something like that. And then I think probably wrong there too, again. And then Poughkeepsie is apparently, I think, Poughkeepsie. or Poughkeepsie. I think it's actually Poughkeepsie. I am going way too far to the west, or sorry, the least, because the west is west and the least is east, because the east sucks. Irony of talking about New York, but and all the Michiganders instead were fucking livid. It's like half the fucking comments are pissed off Michiganders on that video. Just like, how dare you make a video about Michigan and you don't even know how the first thing about how to properly say our fucking place names. I'm gonna riot, I'm gonna fucking call the police, and I'm gonna fucking report your account, I'm gonna have you banned. Not that far, but it feels like that's the attitude they had. And it's like, you're Midwestern, you're supposed to be the nice ones, and you're like, nah, I'm out for fucking blood. It's like, hey, yeah, petition to revoke the Midwest title from Michiganders, please. Thank you. I mean, I know that the joke is that Midwest nice really is just actually passive aggression disguised as being kind. And it's very true. But for the most part. But yeah. That they're just straight up aggressive. I mean, Ted Nugent would have probably been like, fuck yes. They might not have fucking cared about saying their place names wrong, but just his attitude and mentality, I think he would have fucking loved that. This like viciousness of like, yeah, attack harder. That was fucking wild. I'm like, okay, that was backwards and upside down from what I would have expected of people getting pissed at me for apparently misenunciating their local place names. So you know what? I want to make a rant video. God damn, the stupid wrong length thing. I hate that so much. I still want to make, and I still need to make that video ranting about place names and just how wrong everyone in their local area actually are about their own place names. Because you're just wrong. And if you think you're right, you're wrong. Still, have fun. Yeah. And obviously it'd be mostly sarcastic and just taking shots and stuff. How is that still supposedly a wrong length? Fuck you. It doesn't even turn up red yet. Oh, that's so annoying how picky it is about length. It's segments. It's so stupid. Anyway, but it'd be a way for me to vent, basically, and also at the same time rant about the English language and how fucking stupid it is. It doesn't make any fucking sense. And there it is again with the fucking pickiness. But also as a joke mainly, just because like, who cares if you say a place name wrong? Like, you know where I'm talking about clearly, so shut the fuck up. Like, God, everybody does, clearly, you know? And plus, it gives you insight to know how most people are going to naturally say your name if they speak the language, right? Your place names. How is that a problem? I don't know. I would think that would actually be a positive. And then you could just use it, I don't know, as a teaching example to try to help people understand how to say your names correctly. It's also funny, too, with the Michiganders, because nobody fucking told me any of those angry comments. None of them said anything about what I supposedly misenunciated. Like, I know it's Muskegon. I know that's how you say it. Not Muskegon. It's Muskegon. I know that's correct. But for some stupid reason, like, they won't tell me what I misenunciated. I'm sure it's probably something related to, Presque Isle, or however the fuck you say it. That's very Spaniard and not actually, or Spanish, not actually French influenced, even though it's French. I have no idea. And then I think you have the Midwest and the Scandinavian tied into that. So I was like, how the fuck do you actually say that? I don't really know. I heard it recently, but when I made that video, I still don't fucking remember. And I still don't really care because you know where I'm talking about. And then the other one there, I said in reverse apparently, because I even went to a video and I went online both and I looked it up. I'm like, how do you say this again? Which way around was it? Because I'm dyslexic and how the fuck am I supposed to keep track? I don't live there. Apparently I still said it wrong and I got it reversed. So I don't know. Like most native Oregonians don't give a fuck. Well, they don't get mad or upset at somebody if they say Willamette as Willamette or Williamette. In fact, I laughed my ass off when I heard somebody say Williamette because that was the very first time I've ever heard anybody say Willamette as Williamette. I'm like, that's actually fucking hilarious. And actually weirdly kind of accurate, just like what is the other one again? Willamette. But it's like we say it as Willamette, but nobody can seem to figure that one out. And that's English speakers obviously across the country, and it's like nobody can figure it out. English speakers in England can't figure it out. As if it's like the most tough thing to figure out how to say that. And it's like, it's not difficult, but okay, sure. It's like, oh, show. you betcha, yeah. It's just Willamette. Like, we're very lazy speakers. So, like, it's just Oregon. It's not, there's a sound in the middle syllable. It's not actually said as Oregon or Oregon, which, you know, like, sometimes we might get a little annoyed and we might make a side backwards comment towards somebody about it, or like just mumble under our breath, but we don't roll our eyes, but we don't, like, we might get slightly annoyed by it, but we don't care, because like, in the end, who the fuck gives a shit? It's just, it's the third most polluted water body in the whole entire fucking country. Who the fuck gives a shit about the limits? What should we call this? I don't want to do something cliche like border to border. That would work because it is technically border to border. It's national border to state border. But I could call it the South Texas Express. I mean, it's basic, but that works. Texas Express for now. I don't want to go even more cliche and do something like Roadrunner. I mean, I already have the Eagle, which is somewhat cliche, so I'm just gonna do ST. It'd be funny if I did STD. I figured out a way to do that. I think I usually price these at $4. I think, or was it $5? I think it was $5. I think might have been $4. So there we go. Because the normal local service is always $2. Unless it's really short, then usually I try to price it I think at $1 or 50 cents. I can't remember. Not that it really matters, because I have unlimited cash, because I'm awesome like that. Makes no sense, but we can pretend. I want a Shinkansen for sure, because they're going to be the fastest, and I think they have the highest capacity on them. I think I have one of those that is like that. I like the courtesy of who I live with, just leaving the bathroom door open while she has a laundry machine going. That was great, because when I talk, at least, I'm pretty sure it's probably going to pick that up. I'd be stunned if it doesn't. Okay, so washing machines are pretty fucking loud. This Stadler has way too many people. 1,000 plus? It's a freaking light rail train. Like, what are we doing? I know that's another thing I could rant about light rail, is that I know people they overestimate and they overclaim the sheer size of. Actually, no, I think it was the Eurostars that have the highest capacity to speed ratio, right? Unless you do a slower one and then you do more trains, which I could do this Shinkansen at that point, because it's the highest capacity train I own that I could purchase. There's this one, which is lower. So this is, I mean, they're slower slightly, and they're lower capacity. Could you use, I think, who makes the Eurostar trains, by the way? I want to know the manufacturer. Is it Alstom? It's probably Alstom. Alstom or Alstom? I don't know if you say the T. It's Europe. Usually you don't say T's, although that's usually with THs. I didn't fucking make the line yet, did I? God damn it, I did it again. It's the second time I've done this freaking... Fuck, I can't believe you've done this. Second time I've done this stream. I get ahead of myself with the naming and the codes and everything else, the pricing, and then I think, oh, I'm done. No, you're dumb ass. Not a done, you're done ass. You're done ass. I knew I was going to do that. Quarter brain cell, listen. Corpse is crispy. Oh yeah, and they also have the nicknames. I know that like internationally, if you're from like the South Slavic region, so the Balkans, people have this weird hang up, especially Serbs. As if they needed to give me another reason to hate Serbs in general, but like, because they're such arrogant fucking pricks. But like obviously there's always great people in every place, but the majority you find, at least online, are just the biggest arrogant pricks. They have such a problem with like not enunciating their name, like their surnames exactly correct, and also saying both the first and surname, the last name. And I don't understand this obsession. Like they're like, it's absolutely imperative, it's important, and I've been told that so many times. It's like, it's so important, it's so imperative by these people, and I'm like, huh? Like clearly that's got to be a cultural difference if that's really true. It probably isn't. It's the internet, so probably it is. It's just those people personally have a bias against, or a bias, I guess, intense bias for exact enunciation of each name. But it's like, but you know who we're talking about, so why do you insist on that so much? Like, it's life or death to these people. It's like, who cares? I guess, again, kind of like apparently to Michiganders to get their local place names right. Like, they're just like, they act like you're actively stabbing them to death in the fucking heart, and they're like, you're killing us because you're not saying it. Like, I don't understand people like that. It's like, who cares? Like, I can rant and lose my fucking mind about shitty enunciations and all the rules of English that technically aren't even really rules, because they have all their exceptions have a billion other exceptions, and they're never actually, therefore all the exceptions are in play in English and they never fucking have it. It's like, oh my god, I can go on about that forever, and then go on about that with enunciation of place names. But like, in the end, long term, I don't really actually give a fuck. Because, like, what the fuck bearing does it have on my life or anybody else's? It doesn't hurt anybody. It doesn't kill anybody. It's like the flat earth thing. It's like, do I believe in a flat earth? No, I don't give a fuck. It's not even something I think about. But people, for some reason, are obsessed with that. They're like, either, believing in a flat earth or not. And thinking like, oh, you have to be a schizophrenic nut job if you believe in a flat earth. Like, who cares if you believe in a pizza box earth or a fucking trapezoid earth? Does it hurt anybody? No. Does it kill anybody? No. Does it actually have an impact on your life? No. Does it have an impact on their life? No. Does it have an impact on literally anything in existence in life or other people? No? Okay. Then why the fuck do you give a shit? Like, I've never wrapped my head around that. It's the weirdest thing to be so just like obscenely obsessed over getting absolutely correct. Well, it's absolutely a sphere. I don't care if it's a sphere or a fucking tetrahedron. Like, good for us, I guess. We're on a fucking burnt out star that we call a planet. That's really just basically a fucking giant ass boulder. Like, and mineral deposit. Like, cool, I guess. Like, and it's is it life or death or something like that to get that quote unquote correct? Apparently, maybe, yes. 7. I don't have the local networks yet in these cities, so it's not gonna actually have very much ridership. So I'm not gonna be able to look at ridership and be like, I can gauge this. Okay, I need this many trains. I'm not gonna be able to know until I make their networks, which I don't intend to do on the stream because it's already gone probably an hour and a half now. Let's see. Yep. Almost on the dot. Like, hour and 32 minutes. Half the time I have a horrible sense of time, and then the other half of the time I, like, within minutes of what I guess is. It's the weirdest thing. It makes no goddamn sense. But yeah. Oh, I didn't recolor this. I mean, I can keep this color, that's fine, but it's just, it kind of blends in a little bit with the background, but there you go. So yeah, the cities is Harlingen, or I'm skipping Brownsville. Brownsville, Harlingen, what is it again? McAllen, Edinburgh. I didn't need to stop at Edinburgh, but I had said I was going to do it multiple times, including I think at the end of the last stream when I said I was going to do this route, so I said fuck it. Even though it's really close by, so that doesn't really make much sense, but why not? Corpse is Crispy in Portland. Vitoria. College Station, Bryan. It's a combo station because it's right on the city borders of each other. So, because that makes sense for high-speed rail station to put central, so that way you don't have to worry about, obviously, intercity or rather local access rail inhibiting it or whatever, and it can also easily connect it to the rest of the system. So why not be central? It's both real life and otherwise. It's the key thing to do is to find the best catchment base in terms of the most ridership, and then also of course find if it's downtown, even better, because central. Well, when I say downtown, I mean downtown in the sense of the center of the city, but a lot of times the population base is outside of the downtown. And a lot of times it's also outside of Center City because American city planning is fucking stupid. So the next one, because I could have easily gone Tyler, Longview, Shreveport, Monroe, and then Jackson. Long-term goal, I would not mind having one going from the central station here in Dallas, going to, I don't know how big Canton is. I don't think it's Canton is that big. It's not. But then again, I might be surprised to find like a lot more. My brain would work a lot more population bear than I think, because I've already found that out multiple times today. I could also start from Terrell or Kaufman here because they're at the southeast corner of the city. That's perfectly aligned. And then they directly connect into the city. The problem is that this one does not go and touch at Center Station, which is a bit of a pain because you can transfer, but then like that's 3 transfers, or well, 2 transfers, 3 trains, which sucks. Like that's dumb. So the pink one also doesn't go there, but does yes, this bronze line does. That's the cross one that goes all the way to Weatherford, which is interesting. But yeah, it doesn't look like it has enough. Yeah, it doesn't feel like it has enough trains. It probably does, but I could check that. I definitely would need more though, if obviously both of these would, if I'm gonna connect to that to compensate. But yeah. So from there, at least, if not directly from the station to Tyler as well, Longview, Shreveport / what is it called again? It's Bossier City. That's it. I like to say Shreveport, by the way. If I've said Shreveport already, that's because that's my default, and I have to always, right before I look at it, I have to tell myself it's technically Shreveport. In fact, I say Shreveport as if the E is over there, because again, that's, again, a case of dyslexia. My brain wants to flip those syllables around. Monroe and Jackson, Mississippi. I would like to eventually connect up to these cities as well. These 3 would be great. Well, 4 technically, because Muskogee. Well, that's actually harder to say if you say it as Gee, which is actually how it's spelled, but probably said Muskogee because most of the places east of the Rockies say things that way. Then we say it's the other way around here, usually. Connect up, obviously, Little Rock, yeah, all that. At least. And then probably maybe see if I can get a line up to Memphis, which would probably just be 2 lines. One straight from Little Rock to Memphis and the other one from Monroe to Memphis. Oh, actually 3, because then you'd have Jackson to Memphis. / New Orleans, because then you'd, in order to connect that up, it has to make sense, and then you'd have to make it go from Newborn Beans to Jackson, Mississippi, to Memphis. The 2nd or 3rd highest crime rate city in the country right now, violent crime rate specifically, because DC really loves to pretend it's New Orleans when it comes down to violent crime rate, let alone crime rate in general per capita. It's fucking insane. Nation's capital is supposed to be the beacon, the thing that represents the nation and the world stage, and of course it actually has the worst reputation in so many departments. Go figure. It's almost like it's the fucking seat of government, and government, that's just how they work, and they always have. It's almost like they don't care about their citizens. But no, that's gotta be a wild, crazy conspiracy theory, I'm sure. You far-right fascist. I can already see places like Twitter lighting up with that. They have, somehow that clip gets out there. So it's like, what is this fucking white pinhead? He's probably a skinhead. Look at him. He's shaved head. He has a stupid fucking facial haircut. He's white as fuck. Listen, my injection for my mother's vagina, I had no say in it, okay? Leave me alone. I do not have say in my creation. Not that I care. Although, because we can identify as whatever we want now, nobody can say anything, especially legally. I still am so fucking tempted whenever I fill out a form to just check off the black box. I'll just be like, I'm black. I'm black. I don't know why I became Southern there. That made absolutely no sense. For cliche purposes, which was the point. But yeah. You could realistically come up with the idea of like, okay, let's go McAllen, Laredo, and then up, connecting up to San Antonio, or you could just go directly from McAllen / Edinburgh and connect directly up to at least this line, if not up to San Antonio. But that just feels like, though it's a good, smart connection, I just feel like it's kind of an annoying one at the same time. Obviously, now I could have a connection between these two and here directly. That would probably be smart. Eventually, hook up probably connect from this end of the line to one of these over here, whether it's Conroe or the Woodlands, probably, so that way it's still not too long, but you have the extension, so now you can actually go between those two in that fashion as well, rather than high speed. It's more local, so you probably stop at Hearn before you go there, and then Navasota and the Woodlands looks like a good alignment. But yeah, you have to have the two connections here as well. And basically, in the long haul, the idea is to connect up all the major Texas population bases and areas for Señor Texas to have a full, complete Texas network. And obviously, West Coast, much more in the future, probably going to have connections, high-speed rail to Turkey, and Santa Fe. I was originally planning on at least going to Wichita as the furthest north end, but I'm probably not going to do that. I'll probably stick to Oklahoma as my furthest north place, so Tulsa. Yes, so Denver's off the table in that sense. And then, this is way out in the future. And then maybe, not to pull Louis C.K., but maybe I could go from La Cruces / El Pasarito, or even Turkey to Phoenix, probably both. Make a triangle. Pahonix. Actually, I could do Tucson and then Phoenix from La Cruces / El Pasarito, Juarez. I could do Amarillo to Turkey, which was like one of the original plans I had. And then one possibly down through Clovis to Roswell, Amagorodo, and then Le Cruces. It's hard to say, like, how exactly I'll do that network, but it would be good to connect, obviously, Tucson up, because it doesn't look that big, but there's a lot of people that live in Tucson. I think the metro area is like 950,000 people, which is to a lot of people in modern day, it's tiny, but to me, that's fucking massive. Despite living in and growing up in a metropolitan area that has currently, I think, 2.6 million in it, which is, what is that? I think that's now over half of the state's population. Well, a little more than it was before, half the state's population here in Oregon, I think. And I think that is just the Oregon part of the Portland metro that they count on that count, because that's what most people think of. They don't think of the Portland, Vancouver metropolitan area, which is actually the true entire metro area. But that is the current system for Senor Texas at the moment. Off camera, I'm going to finish off the network up here in OKC, so it's fully connected up. And then I got to, again, kick myself to only do the networks of each of these areas that I connected this line up in, so that this line then makes more sense functionally. It actually has ridership for once. I mean, there's obviously going to be some ridership no matter what, because they're downtown, so they have plenty of people that live in those catchment basins. So why the hell not? I did make these two lines between San Antonio and El Paso because of the fact that I found out that, like, not just the less cities you stop in, doesn't matter how fast your train is, doesn't matter if they're all really evenly well spaced apart and they're high populations, for some reason, especially you don't have local networks in those towns and cities, nobody really usually wants to use them except for, like you saw, like 20-30 people. But yeah, 21 passengers, I think that's going to Texarkana. Yeah, and this is coming from Tyler. Yeah, you can see the stations are going to. What is the most filled train? It looks like it might have been that one that I clicked on, which was not this one. It was this one. Yeah, I remember right. Exiting Victoria. It's hard. Actually, the other one might have been more packed. What do we? Okay, I had a lag spike. That's more filled. That's really filled, which I guess makes sense because everyone's coming from the border to go up to probably at least Corpus Christi. And that one already has 109 passengers on it going from to. You see how that works? So it doesn't matter the distance, it doesn't matter the speed. The game's programs to where it's like just one city pair. That's it. Like, it doesn't matter how short, how long, anything like that. If it's not a local network that's clearly meant for the whole city, nobody usually will write it for some reason. I don't understand that. But that should mean that capacity-wise, we'll be perfectly fine. Because I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure I got that Shinkansen that has the 1,100 people. Now it's not gonna. This is decent frequency. but it's not that frequent because of the fact that it is a 285-kilometer-an-hour train, which I'm gonna guess is probably somewhere maybe around 150 miles an hour max speed. I think is probably somewhere in that range. Hopefully it's higher than that, because that's not true high-speed rail. True high-speed rail, apparently the criteria is you have to get to 186 miles an hour. That's what I saw recently, at least in the United States. I have no idea why that is. Where they came up with that number from. I would have thought 150 is where, like, 150 above, to me, in my brain, would make logical sense of, like, okay, that's where you start to get into high-speed rail territory, and then ultra high-speed rail would be like, I don't know, 210, probably 215 miles an hour and faster speeds. So like true Shinkansens dominantly. TGV technically can go that fast, but they never do. Even if they could, they probably wouldn't. For some stupid reason. It's like, why make it go that fast if that's your limit if you're not going to fucking go anywhere near it? Logistics of the logistics of transit is shit. Actually, globally, now that I think about it. Other than Japan, because Nippon definitely nails that shit. Better than anywhere in the world by far. I mean, China does a great job. Sounds weird to say that, but they do. They do a great job. Oh, man. Actually, Fayetteville's not that far away. It's technically geographically further south than Tulsa, apparently. So, yeah. But then, see, my brain wants me to then, just like, well, then why not connect Joplin, Springfield? But then you go up to Jefferson City, Columbia, St. Louis, Kansas City, and you just keep expanding your network. And it's like, this one is going to just become national, not regional. With the emphasis of a epicenter in the heart of it being obviously Texas, which is why you call it Señor Texas, because it's specifically for Texans in Texas to connect to the surrounding regions. So yeah, I think ultimately those are the plans. Like I said a while ago now. Tucson, Phoenix, maybe. I mean, that is further than I want to go west. That's why I'm like cutting myself off at Jackson, because I'm like, I could go, Meridian, Montgomery, Columbus, Macon, Augusta, Columbia, and just like connecting the whole fucking East and Gulf Coast, stuff like that. There's a lot of different ways I could do that. The problem is that's going national, and I want to try to keep it, as I kind of envision it, as a regional line. Like, I also really want to go Gulfport, Mobile. I want to connect those two as well. Speaking of names being said wrong, it's not mobile, it's mobile or mobile. I mean, you can't say mobile, because I know that in the South, especially with the drawl, you're gonna probably end up saying mobile every so often. Especially the older folks are gonna say mobile, Alabama. But it's Mobile, technically, is how I hear most Alabamans throughout my lifespan so far of 30 years say it as Mobile, which, fair. Like, that still fits the Southern accent and drawl and a slower speech, because Mobile, not mobile. Like, that does, in fact, mobile sounds like mobile. That just sounds very fucking metropolitan to me. Like very urban. I don't know why, it just does. It sounds very educated, so to speak. Whatever the fuck that means at this point, really. Let's be honest. Great worker, great cog in the corporate machine. That's really what that shit means. But just basically, I guess Yankee is what the South may still call it. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah,
So that's the main gist of it, and that is probably going to wrap up the stream for today.
All right, yeah, because I did that line. Now I gotta actually reorient where I keep putting it, because I keep thinking. Because see, it does blend in a little too well, and I don't like that. But these trains should help me remember it's there. So I'm gonna take a Steam screenshot, so we have that for future posterity, and there'll be a thumbnail. And that is the current Senor Texas system. I mean, look at all these fucking trains. That is just disgusting. There's so many. Frequencies and capacities with me, as you can tell, my utopian brain is like never would be a problem. Why are all the trains all down here? I hate everything. Why did I have to zoom in? No! Why? There's a red dot. Does that mean there is a problem? I'm assuming yes. It doesn't say anything. This wasn't where the crashed train kept saying last time around, which you notice this time it didn't do it. I don't know why at the end of the stream it kept saying a train kept crashing. It was I think it was in the DFW complex. So I'm not sure what's going on there. It's red also, which is not normal, which makes me wonder, and it's facing this way, but it's on the wrong side of the track. So it makes me wonder if, like, no, I don't know. I'm very confused. It's the opposite direction too. What does that mean? Is it supposed to be like a red signal? I mean, probably, because the station's here. But that's interesting because I've never seen that on any other parts of the network. I mean, in fact, if you go throughout the entire Houston region, you can't see that same red cone. So I wonder. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense because all these rest of these lines, most of them are just spaghetti, basically. They're just strings. They're point to point. That's what that's called. Even though they're technically loops, point to point loops. Yeah. Oh yeah, and then I need to connect Beaumont, however the fuck you say that. Because probably Beaumont. I say Beaumont because it's, to me, how it's spelled in my head, because the E doesn't exist, apparently, now that I think about it. Because, I mean, that's a massive area. And I know that in real life, there's so many people from Houston and the Houston Metro that actually, whether they work there, I'm not sure, or whatever else, there's a lot of transferring, especially from Houston into Beaumont, consistently. Especially during rush hour after work. So I'm assuming a lot of workers come from Beaumont probably to work in Houston. I'm not 100% sure. Like, you can't go without having like a rush hour high-speed chase if you ever watch any videos like that, or you see the headlines, and you almost always are going to end up going to Beaumont, or at least trying to get to Beaumont, which is bizarre. And you always notice there's a lot of traffic. So I'm assuming there's a lot of transfer between population bases here, which is interesting because there's actually quite a bit of population in this region as well. Clearly, it's probably, this micropolitan area probably has at least a good 250,000 people, I'd assume, looking at it. Probably a little more, probably closer to 500,000. And you're also really close to the whole Lake Charles region, which had a bunch of other towns in reality with it. Westlake, I'm assuming, is its own city. This looks like it could be its own city. I guess it's not. I thought there was one to the south when I was here last, but I guess not. There's Sulphur, of course. Maybe it was different. One of those lakes, but yeah. Obviously swamps are a bit of a pain in the ass to work with, and you can see a lot of these are above ground because, again, originally, and this is really early on in the network when I was building it, I wanted things to be above ground as much as possible, whether at grade in rural areas or actually on a viaduct the whole time, because think about realistically, I think I said this earlier, but like, if you're on a train, whether it's high speed or ice or just simply icy intercity or whatever, one of the reasons why you take it is because of the fact that not only is it more efficient, higher capacity, probably quicker than car, let's face it, especially in the Houston area or DFW, or Austin, it's gonna be wicked faster. Even if you're just going to Round Rock from Austin or something like that. Or say San Marcos from downtown San Antonio. It's going to be way quicker. But, you know, it's going to be way more comfortable, at least in theory. If you're very antisocial, you're probably going to hate yourself, even if there's like 3 other people in your car. And the part of the relaxation is the fact you're going to want to look out the window. You're going to enjoy just like almost going to a trance, enjoy watching the scenery out the window. You know, that's one of the reasons why so many transit nuts and people who love transit, riding transit, do trip reports, you know, whatever else. So they just ride it more for the enjoyment, do it because they also love that view. And so why the fuck would you not want to be above ground? Obviously, this stream, I've done everything below ground. I've started to do that consistently with the Infinite. So when I decided to do that today with one of the Hokey Sea Lines, I usually do Infinite. And I said this in the stream, I'll say it again, that a great important thing to do, so you save yourself headaches of not having to constantly swap between elevation planes when you're building your lines and in NIMBY rails, is to always use the Infinite. Whether it's the infinite viaduct or the infinite height, or in this case, depth tunnels, because the fact that then you can, it's infinite. So the code has no ability to know what depth that means, where it's at the levels. So you can cross railroad tracks, stations, everything else, and it will automatically tier them above and below each other. So you don't have to worry about conflicts and constantly going up and down. You just stick to one, and that's all you build. So that's the main reason why I do that, because it's way quicker and more efficient and easier and less tedious, micromanaged. But at the same time, it's also because of the fact that it is, it just, well, I guess, yeah, it's way more efficient. And then you can use your imagination to pretend it is above ground, where it can be. Obviously, in cities and major metro areas that are heavily developed and populated, I don't imagine it's above ground, because that would absolutely destroy so much of really your ridership in the corridor. It just doesn't make any sense. So that's why I would do that. I mean, it might spur redevelopments along the corridor, and then all of a sudden you have way higher density, which would be smart, but you know, it is what it is. Wichita Falls. It's interesting that I've always wondered about Wichita Falls and why it exists in Texas, because, like, why do they call it that? I mean, maybe the band of Native Americans actually also had time down here in history. I don't know. I could be. Oh, I missed a big chunk. That's not that bad. Not as bad as I thought it was. But also, again, it's technically nowhere near Kansas, so to speak, because, you know, well, yeah. But so yeah, and then it makes me wonder, is like, well, does the Wichita River run through it? I know it can't, because I know where the Wichita River runs, and that's where not just Native American tribe that lived in the area of Wichita, Kansas, but also that's, I'm pretty sure, the river that runs through Wichita, Kansas, is the Wichita River. So then again, not to say that you can't have multiple Wichita rivers, obviously, but still, I am very curious about it. And this is not like Google Maps, so I cannot look that up by zooming in and saying, what does it say? No, it doesn't, because it's not Google Maps. In fact, this looks like Mapbox data to me. I don't know if it is Mapbox. It probably isn't, but it looks like it to me. Also, El Paso is developed in such a shitty pattern. I know it's partially this. It's partially the ridgeline here and some of the other hills. But then again, they're just developing this plain out here, this plateau. Just going further and further east and northeast and north, actually, because it's fairly flat. But it just makes it even more infuriating to have to try to fucking develop it, or rather, you know, run transit lines. So this is what transit lines pretty much have to end up looking like, which is just terrible. It looks terrible. Looks terrible. I didn't connect this. I probably should have, to be honest, but I probably won't. Didn't do it again at that point, and that was also relatively early on. It was the first half of this whole save, so I probably still won't. Maybe I will eventually, but it crosses over and intersects with multiple different lines. What is it? This one? I guess not that many. I guess it only intersects really with, I'm sure this one, right? Yeah. I guess it does intersect with a lot of them. It intersects with these three, that one, and then that one. So that's 5 different lines it intersects with. So it just seems, well, I'm very fucking conflicted on this, because if it connected this up, on one hand, it's a positive benefit, because then it completes the circuit and the loop, and then it connects actually these 2 lines again with each other. I say again, because you can just hop. There you go. Congratulations. Now you're on this line. But it connects this one up, which then you can go all the way through here, which is, I feel like, very smart. I think the amphitheater's up here. I think that's why I put that there. And then, yeah, so it's great to be able to allow accessibility to the ridership of your system. But at the same time, it's also equally stupid for ironically, the same reason. Like, why? It's annoying. But yeah, that in fact, actually, now I think about it, that's a perfect case in point about like how it's developed. I mean, look at why is this all I mean, I know the airport's there, admittedly, or I guess it's the Fort Bliss. I think it's no, yeah, it is El Paso International. So yeah, I guess that might be why. But then again, you can tell by its shape, the only inhibitions in terms of like runways is going to be east-west. So you could develop all this with single family or higher density. Like why did we skip out and then all of a sudden we're jumped over here? And there's even gaps here and here. Like, what is this development pattern? Ugh, it's terrible. So this is why it looks like shit. This whole fucking, it looks like you stepped on a fucking spider. That's what this looks like. It looks like a crushed spider right before it fully curls its legs because it died because you crushed the clockwork. It's I don't know that you murdered the hydraulic multi-eyed beast. I'm gonna stop talking. So that's the stream for today. Suffer with me next time on the next stream or whatever the fuck is next on my channel. Who knows? But at least I can live my utopian dream out in Google Earth and in NIMBY Rails. Sort of. I'm not the biggest rail fan. I like it, but I digress. Have a great day or night wherever you are, or not, because it is your choice. If you'd rather go run out and get hit by a fucking semi, I understand. I did this to you. It's my fault. I got it. But it's called efficiency and professionalism, because this is my profession. And I hope to see you around someday, I suppose. All right. See you all later. Good.